All right, welcome into the 1A Boys State Basketball Tournament Preview Show. I'm Paul Kingsbury, and with me tonight is the broadcast team for the 1A tournament at Caldwell. We're going to welcome them in one at a time. First up, Mr. Gary Jones. Gary, how are you, man?
I'm doing great, buddy.
Nice Pilgrim shirt. I like it.
Yeah, I just got it from the coach.
I didn't get a Pilgrim shirt.
Well, you didn't pick him either.
No, I did not. I did not. So, Gary, tell us a bit about yourself, a little bio, and how long you've been with us.
Okay, well, I taught at New Plymouth High School, as you know. I taught there for 32 years. I was a science teacher. I coached assistant basketball, assistant football, but I was the head baseball coach for 13 years. And I was lucky enough to win a state championship with a bunch of great players in 1994, and that's where I always show this ring here. Happiest day of my life. The second happiest day, I got married to my lovely wife, Penny, but I had to tell her I was a little happier on that state championship day. It was like a puppy in a room full of rubber balls.
Yes, and I've used that. Thank you very much.
And then I believe I was the first announcer that you hired, because I started radio in 1988. I was color with Kovic. Mm-hmm. Then he left and I became play-by-play. And then you asked me if I'd rather do that than radio, and I jumped at it because I just knew what Idaho Sports was going to become. Plus, I had a hard time getting paid from radio. I still have radio stations that owe me money, believe it or not.
Yeah, same actually from those days.
So I'm honored to be I'm not going to say the number one guy. There's a lot better broadcasters than me now, but I'm the oldest guy.
You're the longest tenured.
Longest tenured, yeah. I'm proud of that.
Well, your color guy this weekend is a guy that's been with us for quite a while, too. Not quite as long, but Josh McGauley lives over in eastern Idaho, the old guy. Josh, how are you, man? We haven't talked for a while.
I know. I'm doing really good. I'm living life. Loving it. Nice 45 degrees over here. Snow's melting away. State baseball's this week. I'm so excited.
Your mic is popping a little bit, like cracking.
Oh, it's popping. Here, hang on. I'll just take these out.
Okay. All right, we'll switch on this.
Can you hear me?
So, yep. Hear you just fine. Let's take a look at actually, Josh, give that same bio and kind of how you started with us.
Okay, yeah. No, I started about 4 years ago with Lauren Jensen, the great Lauren Jensen, and I loved it. I love sports, high school sports all the way through. I started about 3.5 years ago, and then now I'm a mailman now. So you see me in the streets of Rexburg and doing some high school sports on the side. I love it.
Heck yeah, doing government work, getting people their mail.
Absolutely.
You and it frees up time in the evenings for broadcasting.
It's perfect. It's the perfect job for this.
Yeah. All right, guys, let's take a look at the 1A bracket. You got a good one here, guys. Water Springs and Chalice, 3 versus number 6. Rockland and Nez Perce. Dietrich versus number 8, Coeur de Christ. Number 4, Cascade. And number 5, Garden Valley. Gary, what's something that stands out to you about this bracket?
Well, I would say that the first 3 games have heavy favorites based on one-loss record alone. By the way, I haven't seen any of these teams play, and I don't have any stats, so I'm doing this off of basically their schedule. But in the long pin, Garden Valley and Cascade, that's the game that stands out to me because they've split in the regular season. Garden Valley won 53-41, and Cascade beat them 56-42. So it's a rubber match for those guys to get into the semifinals. I would think that the favorites on the other 3 brackets, Water Springs, Rockland, and Dietrich, would probably win.
It's funny, on my notes, I actually have rubber match written right there. We're thinking the same here. And there at the top of the bracket, the first 2 games, you got Water Springs, Chalice, Rockland, all the Rocky Mountain Conference. So 3 conference foes right there in the games 1 and 2. And then you've got conference foes playing each other in the last game of the day. So it's an interesting bracket. Josh, what stands out to you?
Yeah, no, you're exactly right. Rockland and Water Springs more than likely will face each other again for the 3rd time this year. Water Springs have won the last 2, of course, coming in district championship with Water Springs winning by just 2 points. I talked to Coach Evan today, and he said that game was so tough mentally, and they were so glad that they got that win because, they're just that high to go into the state tournament, to know that they're probably going to face them again in the semis, and that they've beaten them 2 times in a row now, to make it the 3rd time to get that championship game. The game I'm actually looking forward to the most, and we'll talk about it a lot, is that Dietrich Quarter-Christ game, because some of those players on Quarter-Christ, you got a player that's averaging over 30 points a game. It is absolutely absurd what some of those players are doing over there. And so, to be honest, I know we'll get to it in a minute, but that game right there, that's the one upset I have, is for that's the 2A. There you go. For that Quarter-Christ upset the number 1 seed. If Dietrich comes out slow, boy, that's going to be an upset right there on that 3rd game.
All right, guys, let's start at the top. That Water Springs Chalice, kind of talked a little bit about it. Water Springs coming in 20 and 3 on the year, 9-1 in conference. Just a small school there in Idaho Falls versus Chalice. I mean, that's a long way everywhere's a long way to go for Chalice. I mean, they're up there in God's country. I would love to live up there. It'd be fantastic. Rockland Nez Perce. Talk about this one a little bit. Coming in Rockland, down there in District 5, pretty South Idaho. Nez Perce coming in District 2. Is Nez Perce really number 7? And we talked about this in the other classifications with the number 7, where they're number 7 because there's 8 teams, but really, are they really a number 7?
Well, based on the record, they only have 5 losses. The top 3 teams are with 3 losses. You know what's interesting about when I did the girls 1A, Genesee was number 1 in everything, every poll, even our power rankings. Everybody split on these teams this year. In the coaches poll, Rockland's 1, Water Springs 2, Dietrich's 3. In Max Prep, it's Dietrich, Rockland, Water Springs. In the media, it's Water Springs, Rockland, Dietrich. But the most important one is the power rankings on Idaho Sports, of course. Water Springs, Rockland, Dietrich. So Water Springs got 2 of the first place votes out of the 4. The rest of them, nobody can decide on who the best teams are. So that's why this thing's up for grabs.
All right, we're just kind of showing that the comments coming in. Of course, Gary, I bet you remember the Isham name over the years. We broadcast a lot of Ishams. I think they were a Richfield name, if I remember right, going through the years. Yeah. Anyway.
You know who's coming up this time? There's some Torgersons on Dietrich, and I got a hold of Eric, the one I wrote the story about, my sportsmanship story. His first cousins. His first cousin, it's their sons.
And he's a stud. He's a stud on the football field and on the basketball court. He's a bulldozer. He was our player of the game when I went there earlier this year, did the Dietrich Carey game. And his dad, Mike, great guy. He used to always buy us dinner at there in Dietrich and at the Eagles. Anyway, good guy. I love the people in Dietrich. Good people. Well, let's talk about that Dietrich versus Quarter-Christ, guys. 1 versus 8. New school coming in first year with coming to basketball, and they make the state tournament. What kind of chance they have? Gary, talk about Dietrich Blue Devils and the Quarter-Christ Saints. Gary.
Oh, you said me?
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Sounds like Josh, I apologize.
If I think Dietrich's going to win. I was amazed on the very first year when Hawaii won state. Who does that? I mean, your very first year, you're a school, you win state. The Council of Boys have been to school 100 times, never won state. I just think the odds are against them. It's their first year. They've never been in big tournaments and anything. So I would think Dietrich's going to win, but you never know. That's why we play the game and not judge it on paper.
Now, one of your favorite things to do, Gary, is do the mascot matchups. What do you think about this one?
Okay, if you haven't ever heard me, I always talk about what if the mascots fought. Well, no, forget about the players. What if a bulldog and a panther, we just put them on a field? Who would win? Well, the Panther's going to win all the time. Now, I've seen in my life 2 classic matchups. One this year with your son, Will. It was Cuna and Timberline. It was the Cavemen and the Timberwolves. Okay, that battle's been going on for eons. Sometimes the Timberwolf wins, sometimes the Caveman win. This is a close second, if not first. It's the Blue Devils and the Quarter-Christ Saints.
Devils and the Saints.
It's the Devils and the Saints. Boy, I'll tell you what.
Yeah.
It's a classic matchup.
It is classic. I like it.
Start of time. This has been being fought.
Yeah. Well, it's going to be an interesting one. Like I said, I've seen Dietrich play. They're good. They're fast and they're tough and aggressive. It's going to be a tough one for Court of Christ.
Plus, they have a lot of experience in state.
Yes.
Yeah, and Dietrich they have 5 players averaging over 10 points a game, and they're incredible. They really are with those 5 players. And the reason I brought up the Court of Christ earlier is, when you get a stat line like Ben Connolly for Court of Christ, who's averaging 31 a game, 4 assists a game, 6 rebounds a game, 4 steals a game, like that's just a player that you don't see often that could take over a game. But with Dietrich, of course, if they come out and play their game, they can let Ben do whatever he wants, and they could still win that game.
Right.
It's just they cannot come out slow.
All right, let's take a look at that last one, guys. Cascade Garden Valley Conference foes. Like you said, it's the rubber match. Who wins the rubber match, Gary?
I'm going to go with the Wolverines. Both games were close in the regular season. I think Garden Valley has a little bit more than Cascade does in terms of players and talent. But once again, this is an educated guess on my part. So I hope the Cascade people, the Ramblers, don't get too angry.
Devin Barker.
I'll be the devil's advocate. I'll go for the Cascade then.
Ramblers versus the Wolverines.
Well, Ramblers is a walker with a walking stick. The Wolverine would eat him for lunch.
Well, what's a Rambler?
He's just a guy that walks. So if he's a cowboy, he's got a gun, okay? The guy who walks is a walking stick. You got a walking stick and a Wolverine, I'm betting on a Wolverine every time. That's the fiercest animal, pound for pound, in the woods. They say that a Wolverine can kill a grizzly.
Well, Gary, you're old enough to remember. What if it's a Nash Rambler?
What if it's a what?
One of the old Nash Ramblers.
Well, he'll be driving away from the Wolverine, so he'll win out of fear. He will, or he'll try to run him over. I've looked it up, though. The Rambler is just a guy that walks around. He rambles from town to town.
I thought that was you, Paul.
All I do is town to town. That's it. All right, guys, let's take a look at our players to watch in the 1A classification. Cole Olson of Cascade, Jason Farr of Chalice, Ben Connolly of Court of Christ, Connor Perkins, Dietrich, Maddox Miller, Garden Valley, Aiden McLeod of Nez Perce, Woodrow Louder of Rockland, and Titus Driver of Water Springs. Guys, who are you most excited to watch during this tournament? Josh?
So I talked a lot about Ben Connolly, but I'm going to go away from him. I'm going to go with Titus Driver of Water Springs. He's a true 6'10" guy, and at this level, he can do what he wants. There's not really anybody else that can match up with him. So I'm really excited to see that true 6'10" go to work down there for Water Springs.
Yeah, height definitely matters in these lower classifications. We talked about that in the 3A preview with the Plymouth 6'9" guy, and it's just hard to match up with other teams for the most part. So, yeah, good pick. Gary, who do you have? Who are you excited to watch?
Okay, because this is the smallest school division, I love doing the smallest schools. These are small schools. Cascades at State, I looked up their attendance. They have 43 kids. Okay, so what I always look for is the number 1 seeded team, Dietrich. I want to see their best player. Because if you're the number 1 seed at a small school, that guy is lights and shoulders above a lot of people. So I'm going to stick with Dietrich and that player there.
Connor Perkins. Yeah, quarterback. Yeah, he's the athlete. He's a great athlete there. Yeah.
By the way, I'll give you a little trivia question. You know what the smallest school attendance-wise is in Idaho?
Ledor.
Cul-de-sac. 16 kids, 9 through 12.
Whoa.
Hey, I might have been able to be valedictorian at that school.
You might have made the basketball team at that school.
With a 2.5 GPA.
Yeah, heck yeah. Well, looking down the rest of them, Maddox Miller, Garden Valley, Aiden McLeod, a Scottish family up in Nez Perce. That's great. Love it.
Jason Farr from Chalice as well is averaging over 28 games. So we're going to have some very, very good athletes to watch out for this weekend.
I think you have a lot of potential for high scoring games if kids are on. And Caldwell's a great venue for this tournament. I think, Gary, correct me if I'm wrong, I think during COVID they played the championship there, correct?
Say that again.
During COVID, they played the championship at Caldwell. Is that right?
I didn't announce during COVID. I took my 2 years off in COVID from you because of my wife. She's got terrible lungs. I was worried about her.
Right.
So I wasn't there.
So it's a great venue at Caldwell. I mean, I've done games there. It's a lot of fun. So the 1A tournament has a chance to be one of the more high-flying, fast-paced, high-scoring tournaments with all of these teams. So let's take a look at these teams, guys, and I'm going to give you a chance to pick your championship matchup and the winner. Josh, why don't we start with you?
I mean, I think that I'm going to go. This is really a toss-up. I think I'm going to go with Water Springs. I think I'm going to stick with Titus Driver and that crew there. Only losing 3 games this year, having the size of Titus. And not only the size, but they have another kid, Corbin Nelson. That's their leading scorer on the team. And if he can get going, Titus can just dominate. I think Water Springs would be really tough to stop.
Who are they going to play?
I think they would be playing Dietrich in the finals and winning.
From the whole family, Gary, we'll school you up on what a Rambler really is later this week, Gary.
Oh,
so just go up. Don't slap him like I told Victory Charter to do to Glenn.
I'm his
Don't no physical contact. But yeah, why don't you go up there and say hi? So
okay, they're gonna. I tell them to come up and talk to me. I really want to tell what they think a Rambler is. I just assumed it was a walker. I Googled it. Siri's never wrong, is she?
I don't know. I have an Android. 43 kids, 4 state visits in a row. Go Ramblers. All right. Well, you made your picks. We talked about the teams. We talked about the players to watch. Do you guys have anything else to add before we go?
You want me to make my pick?
No. Yeah. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say it's one of the 3 teams, Dietrich, Water Springs, or Rockland. If Rockland wins, they'll sweep with the girls and be the 15th team in Idaho's history to do that. They did it back in 2002, by the way. But Rockland beat Dietrich by 20 points, so Dietrich's out. Water Springs beat Rockland twice, so they're out. I'm with Josh. The Warriors are going to win, and they're going to play Dietrich.
All right, so you both agree.
So look at that. The first semifinal is going to be big if Rockland and Water Springs meet.
Yeah, I think these games are going to be so close. I really do. Unless Water Springs can just dominate like they've done. The past couple of games have been really close for Rock Springs and then Dietrich if they get going. This is going to be such a good tournament.
All right, well, that's it. These are the broadcasters for your 1A state tournament. They'll be broadcasting live on IdahoSports.com, and that's what they're playing for, the champions.
That's what they're playing for, boys and girls.
That's real gold. That's absolute real gold.
It is real gold. Penny will probably cash it in after I'm dead.
I would. You're not going to be buried with it?
Well, I may be cremated. Will it just melt around me? And yeah, well, that's a good idea. I'll probably do that.
Just throw it in the urn with your ashes. Call it good. That's what I'd do. But all right, that's going to wrap it up for this. The 2025 Boys State Basketball Tournament Preview Show. We went through 6A through 1A. We're going to have them chopped up individually and online, hopefully tomorrow. So you don't have to go through everything just to watch what you want to watch. So check back to IdahoSports.com on the YouTube channel is where those will be. So for everyone that participated tonight, I'm Paul Kingsbury. It's going to be a great weekend of boys basketball. Go to the games if you can. Support the teams. Have fun and just enjoy the game of high school basketball. If you can't, listen in. IdahoSports.com will have all 66 games live and free for you right there on IdahoSports.com. So good night, everybody. It's going to be fun. Get some rest. Save the pipes.
Go Pilgrims.
Go Pilgrims.